demon says, yeah, I just tried it, you know. And then there's a big fight, and sometimes Kṛṣṇa appears to be losing, and then all his devotees are like, oh no! And then all of a sudden the tables will turn and Kṛṣṇa will win, and everybody's happy. Right? Kṛṣṇa likes these kind of dramas. And he does the same thing in his loving relationship with the gopis. Kṛṣṇa goes out in the woods and starts playing his flute. All the gopis come out to meet him in the forest. And then Kṛṣṇa says, oh, thanks very much for coming. Now go home. What?
That's contrast.
Contrast, yes. Tension.
Yeah.
See? So Kṛṣṇa builds tension and then he releases it in different ways. Sometimes he'll build tension, then he'll create a different tension and play the two against one another. Kṛṣṇa is a great master of all these amorous arts. So this is rasa. Rasa means that which is enjoyable, that which is tasteful. And Kṛṣṇa is the most tasteful of all. So he manipulates his pastimes in such a way to make them more and more tasteful. See, and he knows exactly what each devotee needs to stay interested, to stay engaged, and to keep relishing these pastimes more and more. And he gives just that to each devotee. Our side of it is that we need to just completely surrender to Kṛṣṇa and not make conditions. And say, well, if you're nice and everything is easy, then I'll serve you. But if there's too much trouble, then I'm going to withhold my service or something like this. No, that's Maya. That's conditional devotional service. Or mixed devotional service, where we have some desire to serve Kṛṣṇa, but we have reservations or we have conditions. We set boundaries. Kṛṣṇa, you can do this, and I'll serve you. But if you do that, then no, I'm not. You know, see, we're withholding our full surrender. So this conditional devotional service has elements of selfishness in it. Therefore, it's not pure love. See, that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Shikshashtaka says, Kṛṣṇa, you are my worshipable Lord. No matter whether you treat me nicely or you crush me by your embrace, you are still my worshipable Lord unconditionally. Unconditionally means that whatever Kṛṣṇa does, we don't stop loving him. Kṛṣṇa doesn't stop loving us, even though we're rascals and we come to this material world to get away from him. He comes and he hides himself in our hearts. So he's still with us, he hasn't left us, but he's very discreet. He doesn't show himself because we don't want to see him. One time, some devotee was saying to Srila Prabhupada, oh, I want to see Kṛṣṇa, I want to see Kṛṣṇa. And Prabhupada said, if you saw Kṛṣṇa, you wouldn't like him. He was Prabhupada could be very blunt, very sarcastic also. You think I'm sarcastic and critical? Oh my God, Prabhupada is like 100 times more. I'm a mild-mannered guy, you know, easygoing. Compared to Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada had extremely high standards and demanded the complete surrender from his disciples, especially if they wanted some position or some power in his organization. Oh boy, they had to measure up. And I mean, I've seen devotees come out of Prabhupada's room like white and shaking, like disoriented from being chastised. When Prabhupada chastised, it was like Nishringadev. Oh, really? It was severe, you know, and yeah. Devotees who had a lot of false ego, you know, because they wanted power or something like that, oh, he would just cut them down mercilessly. Or I should say mercifully. Because a guru's chastisement is actually mercy. It's keeping us out of trouble. It's cutting us down to size so that we don't do really stupid, offensive things. So it's safety. If we take shelter of Guru's chastisement, that's the safe position. Guru will always save us from committing offenses to Kṛṣṇa. So we should be very happy. I feel deprived because Srila Prabhupada never chastised me. The most he ever chastised me was he told me that it's not necessary to learn Bengali. I wanted to learn Bengali because I was working on Chaitanya Charitamrita. But he said, no, whatever you know, whatever you can do now, that's your service. Whatever abilities Kṛṣṇa has given you, just engage those in his service. There's no need to learn anything new. Okay? So I dropped learning Bengali. And to this day, I still don't know Bengali. So whatever Srila Prabhupada used to chastise was actually for the devotees' benefit. And the same thing with us. We have no, we actually don't get angry so much as we become anxious to shield the devotees from making offenses. So, don't do that. If a child is about to touch something hot and the mother grabs his hand and says, don't do that, it's not because the mother is angry. Mother is trying to save the child from being burnt. Don't touch that flame. See, the mother's not angry. The mother is trying to teach the child something forcefully enough that he'll be protected. So similarly, the spiritual master sometimes has to be very assertive. Like, don't do that. Because if you do, you create some offense. You fall down. You may ruin your devotional service. So he has to be very assertive. Doesn't necessarily mean that he's angry or that he hates you or he doesn't like you or any of that. That's all our interpretation. Our false ego comes in, oh, he chastised me, boo-hoo. I remember one lady in Vrindavan was supposed to get second initiation from Prabhupada. And she had just been polishing the brass. And you know how when you polish brass, you get the taint, what is that called? The tarnish. You get it all in your fingers and everything. And it takes days to come out, right? So she had just been polishing the brass and she went into, someone called her, okay, it's time for your initiation, like just out of the blue. So she went into Prabhupada's room and Prabhupada took one look at her fingernails and said, no, I'm not going to give you Brahman initiation. Brahman has to be clean. Brahman means cleanliness. In fact, a Brahmin leaves a place cleaner than when he found it. And she was so freaked out. She was like crying and, boo, Brahman doesn't like me. But actually through her, he was instructing all his disciples. Meaning of Brahmana. So he must have perceived that his disciples were not observing the principles of cleanliness nicely. Even though they're wearing sacred thread, and chanting Gayatri mantra and all this, that they didn't have the important qualifications for Brahmana. So by giving this instruction, he was saving her and saving them from falling down because of uncleanliness. See, not that he hated her or wanted to ruin her life or any of that. That was her interpretation. See, when we receive instruction from the Guru, it's always for our benefit. And we have to see how the Guru is trying to help us by giving that instruction. Because Guru doesn't have anything to gain from his disciples. In fact, disciples are a bother. Disciples are trouble. Always something, one thing after another, always trouble. Because disciples don't know the absolute truth. It's like they're wandering around in their sleep, bumping into things. So you always have to, In the woods. In the woods, yeah, right. So you have to always take care of them and, herd them back into temple. I mean, it's constant botheration. Huh? So the guru doesn't gain anything by having a lot of disciples. But it's our duty to pass on this knowledge to the next generation, and that we have to do. We've been given that duty specifically by Srila Prabhupada. So we have to do. But that doesn't mean that we are really into telling people what to do, or chastising, or being heavy, or any of this. We don't like to criticize people. We don't like to chastise people. But sometimes we have to protect them, so they don't make some terrible mistake and fall down. So anyway, this art of preaching means that sometimes the spiritual master has to be firm with the disciple. But that's just like raising children. You have to do, and it's a